Good morning. Welcome to Manifestation Mondays, River City Homebuyers. So this morning I was listening to a friend talking about getting uncomfortable, and it kind of springboarded what I was already thinking about addressing this morning, but maybe even adding an extra layer. So as a former educator and lifelong learner, I know that learning takes place with struggle, right? When you're struggling or grappling with something, that's when you're learning, not when it's easy and it just comes to you. The real learning takes place with struggle. So that also led me into the next thought process when it comes to reaching goals and setting standards and all of that. There has to be some uncomfortableness in the steps and standards, right? All of the steps and standards that you lay out for yourself that you know that you have to implement in order to reach the goals that you have. They're not all going to be just easy steps and standards. Some of them are going to be very uncomfortable. And if we take that a step further, the reason that we have to probably keep writing these down and scheduling these steps and standards are because they are things that we like to avoid, right? So the stuff that we know we really dislike doing and it's not our favorite, and maybe we just really dread it, but it's a necessary evil. It's a necessary step and standard towards the goal that we want to make. And we find all kinds of ways to try to go around that, right? We'll try to set other standards and steps in place, try to do other things instead, and then we come right back to still having to do and needing to do that one thing, and probably more than one of those things in order to really get where we want to go. And that leads me to a point that I think will be interesting for everybody to stop and process. Avoidance is a habit. Let me say it again. Avoidance is a habit. You make a habit of avoiding the things that make us uncomfortable. We make a habit out of avoiding the things that we really just don't want to do. And we can get pretty creative in our avoidance. So when you look back at Atomic Habits, you look back at the power of one more, the message is very, very clear. You have to implement that one more thing. You have to change one small habit at a time. What if the habit you chose to change was the avoidance habit? What kind of difference? What could you manifest into your life, into your business, into your growth, if you changed your habit of avoidance? And so when you go to the power of one more, and you go into this part where it talks about you have to start catching yourself doing the wrong things and change them in real time. Well, you also, I think, have to catch yourself avoiding things that you really don't like to do. They're not your favorite. You don't want to do them, but you know that they're a necessary step, a necessary standard in your goal setting and to manifest the things that you truly have set out to accomplish. And you'll write it down. You'll even schedule yourself to do it. But then when it comes time to actually implement it, you either don't give your full time and attention to it, maybe you kind of blow right past it, or you skirt around it altogether by trying to replace it with something that's a little more convenient or a little more comfortable. So the challenge for you for this week is to change the avoidance habit. Find one thing, one standard, one step that you know you have identified that you really need to put into practice in order to accomplish your goal. Go to your schedule, write it in, actually schedule a block of time, more than one, for this week to do that step, to do that thing that you normally avoid doing. Because here's the thing, the more you do the thing that makes you uncomfortable, the less uncomfortable it's going to be. But the more you avoid it, the easier it is to keep avoiding it, and then that becomes the habit of avoidance. And that's a dangerous place to go, because then you can start avoiding everything in the world you don't want, and you can get very lazy, very complacent, and also find more excuses for not reaching goals. So the challenge this week is, I want you to pick one thing that you normally would avoid, that you know is a standard that you need to implement, a practice that you need to implement to grow yourself on a personal level or your business. And I want you to actually schedule it in and do it. Dedicate enough time to it, not 5 or 10 minutes. Make sure you give it the weight of time that it deserves for it to actually produce results. Comment below, please, whatever your thing is that you typically avoid, that you're going to deliberately not avoid this week. Then when we reconvene, I'd like to hear how changing that avoidance had a positive impact on the goal that you had set. Everybody, have a fantastic week. Go in strong. Finish out your first month of 2024 like a champ and break the avoidance habit. Have a great day.